Hello and welcome back. And today you're going to treat what we call the if statement. And this is the topic that is so much interesting, like when you are doing coding, yeah, because it's most of like conditional problems you are trying to solve, yeah. Okay, so what are if statements? So an if statement is written just by using if. Also, if I want to, let's say, go to America, which means I need to get a visa. If I want to travel to this, I need to get a ticket. I need to get a car. Yeah, so these are conditional statements. That's what makes if so interesting. Now, let me try to clear all the screen because you're going to deal with the almighty if. So you should give it a space. Yeah, let me run the code so we get an empty. Yeah, console. Yeah, I think there are some things down here. Yeah, you tackle that one later on. Yeah, so Python supports like usual logical conditioning from mathematics, like comparison. Let's say A is equal to B. A is not, which is exclamation mark, is equal to B. And we have A is less than B. Then so on. Oh, wait. And let's say A is greater than B. Yeah. So we have a lot of logical conditions. I've talked about Python operators, so you should know something about this kind of operators. So this is comparison, whether they are equal. This is not equal, less than, greater, and so and greater than or equal to. These ones are, that's why I told you from the beginning that you should have a whole lot of knowledge about mathematics here, because all this kind of logic is mostly studied in maths here. So let's look at example. So as I told you, if always comes with total condition. So it's always like if condition then colon. Then you need to write if you need to go to, then I need to get a visa. Then print. Yeah. So if this, then print I am okay. Exactly, just like that. So that is how if statements are being used. Okay. So let's give one example. We need to create a variable, and let's say A is equal to 33 and B is equal to 200. Now we want to compare these two if one is greater than the other one. So to compare, this is where the if statement comes in. So we just use if B is greater than A. Then we need to colon it, and now hit enter. The moment you hit enter, there's what an indentation here. You see this cursor didn't go in line with this, but it was what indented. That is what spacing and indentation in Python. Because the moment you bring this, you are going to get error, and the Python is going to signal that we have an indentation of error. Okay, so if statements always after the colon is try to stand according to the block of code within which niche you are working with. Okay, so if B is greater than this, then let's print B is greater than A. So let's see if this was true, because our interpreter is going to run through all this. First, it's going to check this variable. A has 33. Oh, B has 200. Now, we use this if statement. If B here with this value is greater than A with this value, then please print B is greater than A for us on the screen. So let's run our code and see what happened. Perfect. Because the condition was true, it's printed out B is what? Greater than A. Now, if after this line, I brought this print statement here. Now let's see what happened. This is what I was talking about. File line 7, which is here. You see the small red, and look here on top of right. There is a 1 error. Now what is the error? The indentation error, expected as indented block. So just the moment we try, so if I hit 2 spaces and it will be indented there. When you run the code, it's back. We don't get that error. So that is what I was trying to explain, okay, to show you that if you don't do your indentation right, you're going to get error because of what this if condition. But that is the syntax it follows, and you need to follow, because that is what the programming language, which is Python, is trying to tell us. Okay, now what if I change this? Then we put this to also 33, and this is where we have what we call the elif. It's a keyword in Python for saying if the previous condition were not true, then try this condition. Okay, so if B is greater than A, and now because we change the way, now we see A is 33, B is 33. Now after this, we have something we call the elif. A is equal to B, colon, then A to print A and B are equal. Now what is happening here? First, let me try to indent it more. Okay, let's give it more indentation here, like 4 spaces is okay, so that will be equal to D. Now let's check here. Now A is 33, B is 33. The reason why we use elif is to try another condition, where if this condition is not true, then we should try the second condition. That is where the elif comes in. So the elif actually, what it does is try, like, it's a way of like saying, okay, man, if it's true that you are not tall, then let's see whether you have the same height with this person. Okay, so it goes through this code, block of code here, by comparing these two. A is 33B. Now if B, so let's see, let me ask you, is B now greater than A? No, because they are all equal. So it will skip this code, then now come and print out this. So let's see now. If previously we have B is greater than A printed on our console. Now let's see if the code runs through and they check here and it's not correct, it moves towards the elif. So let's try it. Let's see. So Control R. Now we saw that what A and B are equal, and it's true because A is 33. Now let me change this to, let's say, 40. We are going to get a problem here. You saw that our code didn't run. Why? Condition here is if B is greater than A, but A is now greater than what? 33. But and here too, it came here. A is not equal to B because we've changed, so nothing will show. But if I'm to change now to A is greater than B, we should have A is greater than B. So let's run the code. Now we have A to be greater than B. So that is, you see, how if statements makes your code so interesting to play along with. So always try to use this to build out kind of a small application for yourself, and you are going to be able to understand every condition you are trying to solve within, as I told you, within Unix. Okay. Now we also have what we call the AND keyword. Okay. So what we use was what the elif one, but we use those and or and then not. You know, I told you this when we are generating logical operators. Yeah. So those Python operators we are using, this is where it is needed. Okay, right here. So we have something like and. Okay, let's try to say we have A to be 30, B to be 33, and let's have another variable C to be let's say 500. Perfect. Now we need to compare all these three. This is where the AND keyword comes in. Okay, so let's test if A is greater than B and C is greater than A. Okay, A is greater than B and C is greater than A. So to write this statement, we use the what? The AND keyword. So we write if A is greater than B and C is greater than A, then now let's delete this. Print both conditions are true. Okay, so if A is greater than B and C is greater, now let's check. A is 40, B is 33. Is A greater than B? Correct, one condition is true. And C greater than A, C 500. If 40 is true, so you could see that this is going to be printed because it's going to check all these variables and see before. Let's run. Now you could see both conditions. Now let me change this to 1. Let's see. Look, we don't need to see anything to be printed. Let's see. It's good. Why? Because this condition is true, this is not true. So in the end, when one condition is true and the other is not true, it will never print. But let's use what we call the OR statement. Now imagine I change this to OR. The OR here is a logical operator and is used to combine conditional statement. So we can say at least one is true. Now that is all what the OR stands for. This OR logical operator. What it's doing is when one of these conditions are true, okay, then it's going to print this out. Or at least one is true. Let's say 40 is greater than B, correct? C is greater than A, which is not correct. At least one is condition is okay, so it's going to print at least one is true. Let's try and see. So you see, at least one is what? It's true. So this is how we use those and or and not. The not keyword also a logical operator, and used to reverse or this kind of conditional statement. So we can just delete this. Then we use what? So just want to do comparison. Okay. So all we try to say, if A, let's change this to, let's say 200. Yeah. So if A is greater than B, we forget to bring our color. If A is greater than B, then print A is not greater than B. Okay, So when we run this code, you see we didn't get anything because A will never be greater than B, because A is 40, B is 200. Okay, so this is how we use those not and stuff together. Okay, now there's one thing I want you to also notice, that we have something called a pass statement. So if a statement cannot, like, let's say we have the if condition, if A is greater than B, okay, then you don't have anything to display here. You can use the pass statement to avoid getting error. Okay, so imagine you've written something like this: A, and say if A is greater than B. So what is next? When you run this code, what are you going to get? Unexpected end of life passing on line 29, which is a lot. Which means when it goes to the code 28, 29, he is expecting something which is here, but we are not doing. So to avoid this kind of error, you can just use what we call the password statement. Okay, just write pass finish, and already run the code. You don't see any error in our code. So this is all what I wanted you to understand about if statement. You see, I'm making this so nice and so interesting to you so that you just know all these basics, so that when we get into the real projects we'll be doing, when I start coding, and you'll be able to follow very fast. Okay, so that you not have a lot of questions to be asking. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? That's why I've simplified this to your lowest level. Okay, so that you'll be able to follow along. So this is all about if statements or the if condition. So in the next video, we are going to talk about the Python loops. Okay, so see you in the next video.